Hey there, welcome to my channel. Today, we're gonna recap the horror movie Don't Love in the Woods from 2016. If you dig this kind of content, consider subscribing and giving this video a thumbs up. When a group of young friends decides to go camping in the forest, the couple Meg and Luke choose to arrive a day earlier to enjoy the place while waiting for their friends. Little did they know that a creature lurked in the forest, one that could smell sex from afar and would kill anyone who committed the act in its territory, as it refused to tolerate disrespect. Consequently, the young couple becomes the target of the monster's attack. Meanwhile, in the city, Alice wakes up to a call from her brother Sammy, who asks to borrow money. She doesn't confirm if she'll help him and confides in her girlfriend Jane, expressing her stress due to the final stretch of college and questioning the need to go camping with their friends. Jane assures her that it will be good for her and will help relieve her stress. At the same time, Mac, a chubby guy who often has erotic dreams where he is a plumber and receives payment in the form of women's affection, waits for his friends at the video store where he works, always keeping an eye on Savannah, who occasionally tries to sneak films under her blouse. Lacey and Connor arrive by car to pick up their friends, but since the car is full, Mac has to ride in the trunk. On their way to the forest, Lacey tries calling Meg and Luke, but they don't answer. She leaves a message asking for their exact location at the campsite, unaware that their friends are already dead. The group arrives and sets up the camp, and Alice suggests that they should search for Meg and Luke. They go searching but find no trace of the couple. Jane tells Alice that they should relax because their friends will eventually show up. As night falls, the friends entertain themselves by sharing stories around the campfire while waiting for sleep to take over. However, nearby, an emo couple camping alone, not interested in sleeping, try to have some fun. Unaware of the creature's existence, they disrespect the forest, and the monster appears, putting an end to their merriment. Meanwhile, one by one, the other friends retreat to their tents to rest, leaving Mac alone sleeping on the grass. But he quickly wakes up as if he had been pretending all along and decides to peek into the girl's tent. Jane notices his behavior, gets irritated, and slaps him in the face. The next morning, Jane wakes up Mac by pouring a drink on his face for his behavior the previous night, while the friends get ready to spend the day at the river. Upon arriving, Alice asks Jane if she thinks Meg and Luke are okay, and Jane tells her that she worries too much about others and should focus on having fun since everyone is an adult and can take care of themselves. Meanwhile, Mac tries to convince Lacey to go topless, which annoys her, but she eventually gives in, even attracting the attention of a forest ranger. The ranger questions what the group is doing there, and Lacey explains that there's nothing wrong, just a group of friends trying to relax and unwind from the stress of college. Alice seizes the opportunity and asks if he has seen a couple of friends who went camping a few days earlier since they are missing. He replies that he hasn't seen them and mentions having a lot of work to do before leaving. The friends comment on the ranger's odd behavior, and Connor suggests that he only came to ogle Lacey's breasts because she was being provocative. An annoyed Lacey retorts that the ranger was cute and probably had a bigger tool than her boyfriend. During the night, the friends once again enjoy each other's company, telling stories around the campfire before resting. However, Lacey and Connor decide to leave the group and have intimate time inside the tent. Meanwhile, Alice and Jane deal with Mac outside the tent, who is trying to have some fun by asking them to kiss in front of him. Eventually, they give in to his request, but the situation escalates, and they decide to go inside the tent. Mac, thinking he is invited, is rejected by Jane and is left outside, abandoned, while everyone else enjoys themselves. A few minutes later, while engaged in their activities, Alice tells her girlfriend that she needs to pee and apologizes while finding humor in the situation. After relieving herself, Alice intends to return to her girlfriend but gets captured by the creature, which releases her upon hearing Lacey's moans in the distance and goes after her, leaving Alice alive and being rescued by Mac shortly afterward. However, Lacey, who has been misbehaving, isn't as lucky. She is thrown out of the tent before being killed by the creature, which devours her body and proceeds to kill her boyfriend before attacking Parker. The three surviving friends then flee through the forest, attending to Alice's wound. She suggests that they should rest there, but Jane and Mac insist that they need to reach the car. They return to the campsite to retrieve the keys from Connor's body, lamenting the deaths of their friends. As they reach the car, Jane searches the trunk for something to defend themselves with, and Mac goes to help her but is dragged away by the creature, which releases him after Jane shoots an arrow at it. Mac then kicks the monster, which is distracted, but the creature critically injures him, and he calmly lights a cigarette, expecting his impending death while the creature vomits on his body. Jane, returning to the car, realizes that the keys are with Mac and decides to flee on foot with her girlfriend. However, Alice, severely wounded, admits she no longer has the strength to continue. Jane tries to revive her, but Alice dies in her arms, leaving Jane to mourn her beloved. Jane runs through the forest seeking revenge and prepares to confront the creature, which quickly approaches her. She retrieves her knife from her backpack, only to realize that the monster has disappeared. She determines that it's time to hunt the hunter, igniting a flare to try to locate it. Jane is then surprised by the creature, which grabs her by the neck. However, she manages to escape and hides behind a tree, where she uses her bow and arrow to strike the creature, knowing that distance is the best way to combat it. Jane kisses her explosive arrow before lighting it and aiming at the creature, insulting it before delivering the final blow. But after the explosion, Jane finds no body, unsure if she has truly vanquished the monster. Exhausted, Jane falls asleep in the middle of the forest and wakes up the next morning, realizing that she is still alive and that everything truly happened and wasn't just a nightmare. She searches for an exit, feeling relieved despite being the sole survivor of the group. However, it seems that the problem has not been permanently resolved, as Mac becomes the new host for the creature nearby.